Farhan says, big up to you both. We know we all love Martin Ødegaard, but would you bench him if Eza does a better job during his absence? Now, Mikel Arteta has already made the decision that Eza looks to now be an attacking midfielder centrally, because he's played a couple of times on the left and he's just screamed at him all game and just moved him into the centre. So I don't know that he is going to be this left winger that you and D and some of the others thought he was going to be. I think he is going to play more centrally for Arsenal, and I'm actually quite happy with that. What do you make of this super chat, Egal?
Farhan and my brother, Fanta. I'll tell you this. When it comes to Martin Ødegaard, he is the club captain. He's gonna have a room in the squad no matter what happens with Eze while he's out injured. And if Eze plays well while he's out injured, the better for Martin Ødegaard. It will just push him to be a better player. I've seen him since he came back from injury. He's looked so much better. And did you see Mikel Arteta's interview? He spoke about how Martin Ødegaard last season, when he had his baby, he was struggling with his recovery from injury because he was more focused on getting the baby acclimatized, doing the night feeds, and he wasn't really sleeping well. So not only do you have to be home injured, focusing on your injury. You think I'm joking? I can play the video. I have it on my phone.
I'm not. I don't think you're joking. I just find it bizarre that he's the only footballer that's had a kid and struggled. Everyone else is fine. I just don't see it.
Maybe all the other guys, their wives were maybe dealing with a lot of the night feeds. Clearly, Ødegaard looked tired all the time.
But he's not breastfeeding a gal, is he? Come on, like, let's be real. He's got a nanny.
No, maybe he's
multi-millionaire, this guy.
Maybe he's bottle feeding, because I bottle fed my firstborn, and I'll tell you this, because it's a bottle, now you can do more of the tasks. Now you can lift more of the weight. Now you can help out more. And I don't know if they have like a whole nanny or a group of people, but it's an actual legitimate reason on why Ødegaard might have been a little bit more sluggish last year, because he wasn't only getting injured, but he was dealing with a lot at home.
Well, I don't believe in that. I think he had an injury, and I think he struggled with his performance.
The manager said it with his own words, bro.
Yeah, but the manager's also said us a lot of stuff, bro, that isn't true, isn't he? He's also come out with a lot of waffle, telling us that we're the best team in Europe and that we just lost to PSG, we deserve to win, and saying how much we're the best team in the league when we're not, because Liverpool won the league. And if we would have had this...
Dan, this is a very private matter. And I think, you know what? I'm just going to send you the video so you can show everybody what I'm talking about. I have it right here. I'll send it to you on WhatsApp.
Okay. Well, we'll take a look at that for sure. Let's play this, people.
I don't know. Sometimes I've been with a player that I wanted to put the finger into something that it was very clear. And then I realized 3 months later that he had a problem with his wife, or he didn't sleep, or his kid for 3 days, and then he got injured. And I said, I've been scratching my head for 1 month trying to do that, and then I found out that this was the real reason. It's a lot of factors we're trying to control, dominate, and be aware of what we can predict. But then, unfortunately, this is sport, football, and life, and it's not that easy. I can look at that, but for example, Gabriel Magalhaes gets...
So he's basically saying Martin Ødegaard. He hasn't said Martin Ødegaard, but it clearly is Martin Ødegaard there. Is that what you're making up? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So you kind of understand where I'm coming from when the manager even tells you that we didn't know that the player had so much going on behind the scenes that was leading to him not having proper recovery time, that it can lead to further injury or further issues, and also lead to poor performances. So we have to do better finding out what's going on behind the scenes, basically.
Okay, look, first of all, I don't know why he wants to put his fingers in players. That sounds very odd. However, when he was talking about that, I think the Martin Ødegaard thing, the Martin Ødegaard situation is one that I just look. If he was a bit tired when he had a baby, I don't think that is actually a reason as to why you can have a poor season. He might have a poor few weeks, might have a poor few months, but he had a poor season, Egal. I think we're trying to make excuses for him, bruv.
Dan, I'm sorry, you've not had any kids. It's draining. It takes away from your recovery.
I'm not saying it's not, bro. But
it doesn't allow you to be at your peak best fitness if you're constantly dealing with night feeds and you're doing all these other things. Now,
how many people have babies in the league? How many footballers have had babies?
I'm simply saying, if he's injured and he's recovering from an injury like he was, and he's also dealing with other stuff going on at home, which the manager clearly told you, it can have an effect on your performances. Regardless of what anybody says, you're a human being. If you have other things going on that is draining you, it will take away from your full peak effectiveness.
So is his baby okay now then? Is that why he's performing against Olympiacos?
No, his kid's
He's
probably
getting sleep now.
older. His kid's probably older. He doesn't have to worry about all the stress. After there's a little period where it can definitely negatively impact you massively.
Okay, well, every time that I see someone having a bit of a bad game, I'm going to ask if they've just had a baby.
No, come on. Now you're taking it out of context. You're
Well,
making
that's
it
what you're saying. Apparently, it makes them very tired and can't perform on the
No,
pitch.
Arteta was simply saying there's other factors that can also deal with you having stress and further lead to fatigue or injuries. And he was saying you not getting proper sleep, you having issues with your partner, or you having a child can definitely affect you.
Okay, look, let me move because otherwise we're going to be here forever. Farhan has also come in and said Gyökeres and Isak not in the World Cup. Yeah, look, if I'm honest with you, I'm hearing so much about Sweden, about Isak and Gyökeres and how bad they've been and all this kind of stuff, man. I'm so kind of done with it.
I don't want to hear it. Bergvall missed the open net, cost him the game.
Well, apparently it was Gyökeres who was the issue because that's all I keep hearing. It's just ridiculous, man. It really is, and that's
the ball came in, open net, past the keeper. Bergvall just has to slot it away. He rolls his foot above the ball, and the ball stays in one place, and he keeps going.
Mate, but no one will mention that. They'll mention Gyökeres and Isak, to be fair. But there we go. One of those things. Okay, before I'll put some topics together of about how Arsenal can dominate. And I'd like to discuss them very quickly. But before I do that, I need to ask you why I'm bringing this topic up and this title up. Because you did a video with Dan Lawless. I don't even know when it was now. It was a while ago now. And you said you don't just think that Arsenal win the league, you think Arsenal will dominate for the next 5 years. And you know what? I spoke to a friend of mine today and actually said Arsenal right now have everything they need to win trophies. Whether it's going to be dominate for the next 5 years, I've no idea. But we do have everything we need to win trophies. This team was good enough to win a trophy, in my opinion, anyway. However, right now, it's good enough to win major trophies. That's what I think. So talk to me about why you think the word dominate was in your vocabulary across the next 5 years when you look at Arsenal Football Club right now.
Number one thing, in order to dominate, you first need to start creating a winning culture. So we first need to start winning something. We haven't won anything in the Emirates era. Let's first break the Emirates in and get that first Premier League trophy, bring it to the Emirates. And that is how you're going to start this whole thing. It doesn't start without just getting that first one through the door. And I honestly believe this is going to be our year. The way that we've built this team, the way that we've gotten to this team has been through great recruitment. And that has been one of the main things that has led to us having this team that is so good now. Our recruitment can't stop. Just because we have now gotten a team where we're good enough to compete for the league doesn't mean we now don't go and address the left wing position going into next summer. It doesn't mean we don't go and address another defensive midfielder behind Zubimendi and Rice, or another more attacking midfielder who can come into this team and give us more creativity also, in the case that we move on Ødegaard or something like that. We don't need too many solutions in our first 11. But we cannot drop the quality of the first 11 by staying too consistent with just what we have. We constantly have to change it up and refresh it over the next coming years to keep us from becoming stale, right? And that's where the investment from the Cronkies comes in. We don't dominate anything unless the Cronkies and the ownership consistently view the club and winning as the priority. Now, don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with building the stadium up. But while you're building up the stadium, you still have to be able to be saying, I'm willing to invest 100 million here, 200 million here, just to make sure in the case that we do lose any players through injury, or just because they're no longer at the same level, or for example, we do end up selling like a Ben White or somebody like that in the future, we will need to replace them. And Arsenal of past, we kind of tried to bandage things. We didn't really go out fully to replace things. This new era of Arsenal, we don't have a goalkeeper, bring in Kepa. We don't have a backup for Zubimendi, bring in Ødegaard. We need a backup for Saliba and Gabriel, bring in Henkape and Thing. I need to see the same level of consistency going forward. When we have any holes in our squad, fill them. In the past, we didn't do that. We just let it go. So these things make me believe we're a better run club now. We're no longer run like we were under Arsene Wenger, under Gazitas, and all these guys. Even Raul Sanelli and them, when they came in, they were just trying to put bandages over everything. They weren't trying to look at the long-term picture. And this is where the non-negotiables from Arteta comes into play. And I know people hate when I say stuff that Arteta said or quote Arteta, but his non-negotiables really came in. Everything that he spoke about when it comes to attitude, work ethic, when it comes to overall just having a team playing a certain way and it's his way, as much as people don't like it, getting rid of the guys like Guendouzi, getting rid of guys that didn't fit the squad, like Aubameyang. In the short term, we had pain, but in the long term, now we are now benefiting. We are now seeing the team playing in a cohesive way, when at times defending very well. We have one of the best defensive teams in the league. That doesn't happen without this quote from Arteta originally, where he spoke about non-negotiables and things that you need to do. So I really do respect how far we've come. And the final thing I would say is, the only way we do win all these things and dominate is if these players consistently develop also. That's the final thing. We can talk about the manager, we can talk about investment, we can talk about everything, but the Sakas, the Rice, the Reyes, the Gabriels, the Salibas, the Timbers, those like 6 players who I consider some of the best players in the team, will also continuously need to perform at this level for us to continue to do well. And injuries aside, we should now have a team that can rival Man City, Liverpool, any team in the league or across Europe, with the fact that we are now at this stage. And it's just get us over the line. We win one, it will start coming like buses. Best believe.
Bro, well, it sounds like what you're saying is, like John says, trust the process. It's going to happen. Trust the process again, people. In the next 5 years, it's going to be dominated. Look, I agree with what you're saying about non-negotiables, and I've actually praised Mikel Arteta and Edu previously for what they did off the pitch in terms of removing the culture and trying to bring in players that are not toxic and are going to go, be on the boat, so to speak, non-negotiables. I don't think we've always replaced those players. For example, I still trying to wait for a striker to come and score the goals that Aubameyang did for us. But I do think that there were players we left like Ozil and Socrates and Luis and Mustafi, and you mentioned Guendouzi and some of the others that we just had to let go personally to move forward with better quality, and also with some of the players that I just think their mentality was completely wrong.